I'm Mina Malik Hussain, and you're watching The Coffee Table. If there's something that the year 2020 has taught me, at least, it's the value of online shopping. I've been doing a fair amount of it, and I think that it only goes to show how important and how useful and how relevant e-commerce has become in the larger sort of world of business and marketing and reaching out to consumers. And it's like a whole brave new world out there. And as a literature person, I don't know much about it. So for the purposes of learning more about e-commerce and IT solutions and all these sort of wonderful technological things that I don't know much about, I'm delighted to be welcoming from across the airwaves, Dr. Mohammad Zulqarnain, who is the COO of Carbonic IT Solutions and one of the co-founders of Global Shopaholics. And joining him is Safian Hafeez, who is the CEO of Carbonic IT Solutions and is also a co-founder of Global Shopaholics. Hi, welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you.
Yes, to meet you. Nice to meet you too.
Meet you virtually.
Exactly, sort of, a virtual handshake. Back in the day, there used to be a thing called a golden handshake where you could take early retirement, and now this is like virtual handshake. But hopefully, nobody has to go home afterwards. So I like to. So Safian, I want to start with you because I find that your journey to your sort of entrepreneurial life has been. Actually, both of you, it's been an interesting journey, but you more so, because I think that you were every Desi parent's nightmare, that you went to college and then you decided to not do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I found college to be very constricting, and it was very slow-paced education for me. Yeah. And on top of that, you were learning a lot of things that weren't necessarily relevant or to me or interesting to me. Yeah. So I felt like I could channel that energy and, kind of sort of do my own thing. Yeah. And that's kind of why I went into this. Yeah.
So tell me, what does e-commerce mean? Like if one were to kind of describe in a manageable way or understandable way, like what does it mean? What does it mean to do e-commerce?
E-commerce is, I guess you can describe it as digitizing the market, digitizing, right. Being able to procure something, Traditionally, you would go to the store, as you said, you would go to the store and you would buy it. E-commerce allows you to do it through an online transaction. So that's very efficient. It's nowadays it's actually very safe because of COVID. Obviously, you don't want to be in public areas that are, that have high concentration of people. Yeah. So that's basically what it is digitizing that market.
Right. So obviously it's also dependent on tech. And I think that e-commerce has became a thing in the mid-90s. So Zulqarnain, tell me about how you got into this sort of, digitized business world. Because, you are a doctor and now here you are, entrepreneur.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting us.
Thanks for being here.
I graduated as a doctor, and then I wasn't that much familiar with internet. Once I moved to America, that's when, and also when I met, like-minded people, like Safian is one of them, I was getting more and more aware about internet, and it was very interesting to me. Business was one of the things that I always wanted to do. But, my father, my grandfather, they wanted me to become a doctor.
Of course.
So I ended up doing that. But that was like you have something just in case if this doesn't work out, you can always go back.
Yeah. So, somebody will give you a job. But the reason I'm asking both of you these questions is that I find, correct me if I'm wrong, is that I feel like e-commerce is that space, and because it's sort of nobody decides what it is, and anybody who has an idea can just kind of jump in and set up a company and just really kind of, make things happen. So Zulqarnain, do you feel like this is an arena that has sort of the growth is so sort of fast is because people like you, for example, who trained in one thing but have a really good idea. So sort of doing it digitally is actually a really freeing and really kind of viable way to do this, as opposed to like a traditional business setup where you have to take a different kind of route.
Yeah, first of all, I would say you don't need a large amount of money to start any online business. Right. We started with very few amount of dollars, and the same thing if you want to go for for any traditional business, you need to have a physical presence, about like a brick and mortar store or something like that. And with this, you can, all you need is just a website. That's it.
Yeah.
There is, there is, or a little bit, you have to have a little bit of skill on digital marketing here and there. You can start learning those things. You don't need to get to the successful part right away. You have enough time. You can leverage it, and I think this is the way to move on from here on.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I want to talk about those sort of different aspects of it. But sort of coming back to you, Safian, the different kinds of e-commerce as well. Like, I've been reading things. So there's business to consumer, and that's like Amazon, isn't it? There, sort of somebody sells a consumer something, and then there's business to business. So there's like different ways of doing business online. Yes.
Yes, that's correct. So you could do, like you said, B2C, business to customer, like Amazon. You can do B2B, business to business. There's also B2B2C, so you're doing business to customer. So, on the other end, for instance, on the other side, you have another business that's catering to their customer, but you're also part of that process. So yeah, there's different ways to get into it. I think the conversation needs to be more around technology itself. How has technology become important, and how do you connect the new technology with creative thinking? So if you are, up to date with new technology and you're a creative thinker, you can come up with ideas through your own life experiences and use technology to, execute those ideas. So a lot of us, we have great ideas. We talk about making applications for e-commerce. We talk about making applications for making this person's life easier. Yeah. But nobody wants to put that idea into action. And I think that when you start, I think people are afraid. People don't want to give it a chance, and people want, a sure thing, something safe, a steady income. You can do this on the side, by the way. You can have a steady income. You can have your regular job and still do this. Yeah, yeah. So when you start thinking that way, there's so much you can imagine, and there's so much more you can do. Yeah. Instead of just limiting yourself. And technology, information technology gives you the tools to execute that, because the field is very vast. You have data, you have storage, you have applications. So you want to move that data, you want to make that data work for you in e-commerce, for instance. So there's a lot of opportunity here, not just for money, but opportunity for happiness, because you'll find something that you enjoy, because the field is so vast. Yeah. There's so many different things that you can do, and if you can find something that you enjoy, and that's where the creative thinking is going to come in. Yeah, I think where you're going to find it.
That's a really lovely put in, an opportunity for happiness, because you can find something that you really love to do, and it's also a sustainable thing, and you can keep your day job too, ultimately. So tell me more about the companies that you both have set up, Safian. What does Global Shopaholics do, or Carbonic? Well, IT solutions is fairly obvious, but like Global Shopaholics, for example, what kind of platform is that?
So Global Shopaholics is basically a cross-border e-commerce platform, and what that actually means is that it allows users all over the world to be able to tap into a market that they normally wouldn't have access to. Right. In this case, it's the United States market. Right. So you have tons of brands here. You have authenticity. So, in different parts of the world, you might have issues with authentic brands, whether or not something's authentic. Yeah. Over here, there's very strict rules about piracy and replicas and copying. So what you're getting is what you're getting. So America, United States is like a filter. So everything, there's things coming in, but the stuff that succeeds is the quality. Yep. So once you have that filter and you get rid of the noise, then you have quality, and that's what people want. Right. So we give them the ability to tap into this market. They can shop at Best Buy, one of the most popular electronic stores here. Yep. They can shop at Walmart. They can shop at Amazon. The products are vetted. The products are tested. People review them. So, there's credibility there.
So they're able to buy things online, and then via Global Shopaholics is then a service that is able to then kind of send their goods forward the goods to the consumer ultimately. So you guys are kind of connecting that market with consumers around the world.
Exactly, and the key here is the efficiency. The efficiency is the key, right? So when a person, let's say you do want to shop, you have the ability to shop directly with Amazon, for instance. Let's say there are certain, your product selection is going to be limited, first of all. But let's say you do have that ability, but people want the flexibility of shopping with Amazon, Macy's, Best Buy, all of the stores.
Yeah. Yeah.
So international shipping is actually very expensive.
It is.
So So the cool thing is that locally, domestically, all these companies ship for free within the United States. So we're able to save people money there. So everything gets shipped free to us, and we combine everything, and they only have to pay that international shipping once. And obviously, we have we have partnerships with DHL, for instance. FedEx is our partner. UPS is our partner. We also partner with Airmax and several other carriers. Yeah. So we have substantial discounts that we pass on to our customers. So there's no way that you can get a better price as far as that's concerned. So once you get the product, you need to then move the product.
Then I think that's what was for my online shopping career. I'm just like, all sorts of things can be done. But what that really means, or what that sounds like to me, is this wonderful sense that the world is your oyster, and e-commerce makes it possible for people around the world to sell their products. And I'm thinking of a website like Etsy, for example, that you could be making something, some sort of sweet little craft, and anybody in the world now has access to it. And that's a kind of opening up of a market that's insane. And efficiency is also kind of part of that. So Zulqarnain, do you think that like e-commerce, one of the great advantages of doing business like this is efficiency? Efficiency of connection, let's say, or efficiency in sales?
Yes, you have so much data that you can use that data to predict even what's going to happen in the next year, or how your growth is, how you're growing your company. There's a lot of decisions that you can make on that data. Yeah. Majority of the bigger companies, if you see, are working with us from India, from Pakistan, from UAE, different part of the world. Yeah. So all of this is possible because of internet, because of e-commerce. I feel like it just converted the whole world into a small village. You can we're in America right now, and you're there, and we're all able to talk to you easily.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like when we talk about e-commerce, then disruption is a word that comes up a lot. And do you think that means that it has kind of sort of upended and really changed the way that we think about doing business?
The fastest growing companies in the world are actually, if you talk Amazon, Facebook, Google, all of these are internet companies or software companies, and and Amazon is I think the biggest company right now. So and they started in 1990. So that they only took into 20 years to got to this place. And then we have companies that are 100 years old. Yeah. And there's a lot of actually, if you see, there's a lot of big brands in America that were closed, and they were 100 years old brands. Yes. And because they didn't take action right away. So, they didn't keep up. That's what I would say.
Yeah. No, so that means innovation is a sort of really sort of catchphrase here. We're going to take a very quick break and come back to this fascinating conversation. Stay with us. Hi, welcome back to the coffee table. I'm talking to Dr. Mohammad Zulqarnain and Safian Hafeez, who are co-founders of Global Shopaholics and Carbonic IT Solutions. And we've been talking about e-commerce. It's very edifying, and it's actually really kind of fun. It sounds like so much fun. So Safian, before the break, we were talking about like disruption and innovation. So do you think that every business now has to consider the kind of online side of their business to survive now, or to keep up at least? Absolutely. Not even survive, but to kind of keep up and be competitive?
Yeah, to keep up and be competitive, exactly. So one good example would be, a long time ago you had telephone operators. You had a person that actually worked a telephone switch. So someone made a call, they had to actually connect it to the switch physically to connect that call. Yeah. People, eventually the telephone came, with the dialing system, and you no longer needed the telephone operator. So innovation eliminated that job. So innovation eliminates things unless you can keep up with it. So, so those telephone operators, obviously, they probably rerouted their energy. They became something else. They evolved. So the point is that you have to evolve. And as far as just e-commerce is concerned, in 2019, the e-commerce, I believe, the total business that was done was around $3.5 trillion of e-commerce was. So the total sales worldwide amounted to about $3.5 trillion. And it's projected in 2022 that it's going to be $6.5 trillion.
That's a lot of zeros.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. So 3.5 to $6.5 trillion. So there's that much more opportunities it's going to grow up to that much. So you're talking about that much opportunity for people to innovate, that much more opportunity for people to think creatively on how do I tap into this. And, you see Amazon is an e-commerce company. Facebook is not necessarily an e-commerce. It's not an e-commerce company.
It's a service.
They're a digital marketing company, right? So it connects to then e-commerce. So a lot of the people that are, in e-commerce, they leverage Facebook. So all these companies are connected, through that. And they're successful, and e-commerce is a driving factor. Yeah. And on top of that, online shopping is one of the most popular activities that are done online worldwide. And it's actually the most popular activity.
Yeah, and it's that you mentioned that all of these things are connected, because digital marketing is probably the main reason why people then are drawn to shop online. Because, and that thing that we all joke about, that, our phones are listening to us. So if you mention, I don't know, an air conditioner, then you'll start seeing ads in your Facebook feed for air conditioners, and then you're like, oh, that's convenient, and you just kind of click on it, and you buy things. So if I were somebody who was selling a product, that would be an incredibly efficient and really specific way to target a consumer. It's kind of freakish.
Well, I mean, exactly. And that's what Facebook does. That Facebook gives you the ability to target that consumer. It gives you the ability to recognize that there is somebody looking for that AC or whatever example you just gave. And then, obviously Facebook uses different tools. So when you have Messenger installed, you're allowing access to your microphone, and you consent to that. So you have to realize what you're consenting to. So all of these are different marketing strategies. So Facebook has already done the homework. Facebook is a very powerful tool. I encourage everybody who wants to get into this to leverage Facebook, and it wants you to succeed. So it'll help you actually succeed. So it'll help you reanalyze your strategy. It'll help you come up with a strategy. It'll help you know your audience. Is your audience between this age? Is it a particular gender? Are they interested in a particular product? So then you can critique the ad for that particular person. And, it's a very powerful tool.
So I was thinking, how would one, as a business owner, know which approach to take for selling a product? Like, would you want it to be consumer to consumer? Would you want to kind of do like a B2C approach? So I suppose it would depend on the nature of the business.
Yeah, it would depend on the nature of the business. If you talk about our business, we're able to do all of those things. That's because of the nature of our business. But obviously, you want to know what you're going for. It's better to have a specific target. Define a specific goal and a specific target, at least in the beginning, until you become familiar with what you're doing. But always try to reassess. A lot of times people find a little bit of success and they get too comfortable, and they don't reassess their strategy, or they don't eliminate the noise in their strategy, because you have to realize that that's important to keep reanalyzing and reassessing yourself. That would be an effective strategy.
So again, where the sort of innovation sort of keeps coming, I imagine. It's like, whoa, I know a word now. So, Zulqarnain, because you used to live in Pakistan and now you live in America, and I always find it like an interesting vantage point where you can see how things are done here and things are done there. So do you feel like e-commerce is particularly kind of useful for somebody in Pakistan who wanted to set up a business, because I'm thinking, for example, about Facebook and how a lot of women, and Instagram as well, and how a lot of women have set up small businesses out of their homes, and I'm sure men too, men and women. Like you said, you can just set up a website, and it's like really, you don't have to put in much to kind of get things going. So for a country like Pakistan, do you think that that's a really convenient and really efficient way to start a business?
Yes, it is. And there's a very interesting thing in this too, that all these social platforms, now they are going, like Facebook and Instagram, they're getting more interested in the e-commerce as well.
Yeah.
Even Facebook has started their own marketplace. I'm not sure they have, they haven't opened for Pakistan yet, but very soon they will. And they have their own. And for Instagram, they have you can set up your store over there.
You can have a business
just to start.
profile.
I've seen people exactly just to start. I've seen people just posting pictures on their personal profiles, and after 6 months, they had a complete business set up.
Yeah.
You just have to take the first step. And for Pakistan, I think Pakistan is, if that's the most booming industry for IT, and this is the perfect time. With the COVID. And people not going outside. I was in Pakistan about a few months ago, and a lot of my friends, they started coming to me and be like, "Yo, we want to start this business, online business. How can we do it?" Now people are more getting interested into it.
Yeah.
This is the time.
And also
for Pakistan.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking about things like limited mobility, for example, that if you can't sort of, unlimited funds, like you can't just go out and set up a shop. It takes so much investment and so much kind of physically having to go out and do it. Even if it wasn't COVID, a lot of people don't have those kind of resources or that kind of access to setting out a mentorship as well. Like, do you think that for e-commerce, because it's a kind of, anybody with brains can do it, you still need guidance and you still need mentorship, but because everything is digital, like a company like Carbonic, for example, can kind of help people find their way in setting up business as well?
Yes, there are actually a lot of similar companies to Carbonic as well.
Yeah.
They can help, or Carbonic can help. But I would say first you should start with Google. Google is the biggest teacher right now, and it has the vast amount of knowledge.
Yeah.
For us, we didn't have any mentor or anything like that. We just Googled ourselves.
That's great, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, because you don't have to go and find one. You can just find them yourself. Like, you don't have to be like knocking on doors, making phone calls, saying, "Please, can you give me some time?" Like, you can just go and do it. Like, it's such a sort of carpe diem kind of feeling. But as somebody who does have, a platform now that is successful, where's a good place to start for somebody who wants to, or has already kind of got a small thing going?
Oh, well, it all depends what kind of product you're planning on selling. Okay. Like Amazon, in Pakistan, we have Daraz, we have Kemu, we have so many online stores. If you want to just to test a product, you can put your products on those stores and see how it performs, or just on your personal profile or a business profile, just to test. And you don't even have to invest that much. And there's a model called drop shipping, where you don't even have to touch the product. The manufacturer of the product will just ship directly to your customer, and you're just advertising the product. So there's so many ways to make money or make business online. It's just you got to take the first step.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's so cool. That is exactly right, dropshipping, because AliExpress does that, doesn't it? That's just all. They just kind of facilitate somebody else selling to somebody else. It's crazy. Like, all these ideas are so successful, and I'm just like, wow, like, you can do anything. But in order to do that, and I'm just sort of now thinking about IT, like Safian, you mentioned that technology is at the heart of all of this. But what do you do in a country where you don't have that much access to technology?
Well, I don't think that's correct. I think that a lot of access to technology in Pakistan, and the problem is that a lot of the youngsters, they're wasting their time on technology. They're not using it for their advantage. They're actually just rotting away. Right. They're focusing too much on social media. They're actually on the receiving end. Companies are spending a great deal of money for your time, and you have to realize how valuable that is.
Right.
And the fact that technology is free, and technology is available. Google is there. There's great advantage. Like you just touched that point that you don't need a conventional formal education to get started.
Yeah.
There are tons of free resources online. As long as you have some level of interest, you can pick up quickly and you can succeed. And success is also doesn't necessarily mean that the first thing you try, you're going to be rich. Success is also what, if you are still learning from what you would call a failure, which wouldn't necessarily be a failure if you learn something from it.
Absolutely.
That also translates into success. So, it gives the common person in a village that doesn't have that opportunity, that doesn't have enough money for his parents to send them to school, that might not have done really great in school because, a formal structured education wasn't necessarily the best thing for them. Some people have ADHD, some people suffer from anxiety, they have other issues that might cause them to lose interest in learning about just about everything versus something that they're really interested in. So, being online, using that time wisely online, using social media to your benefit, that's wwhere you should try to focus your energy on, not on, I need to post a picture of me standing in front of this car today, me eating this thing today. You're wasting your time. You're not doing anything for anybody. You're not doing anything for yourself. You're not doing anything for the person looking at it. So it's what I'm trying to say is we do have access to technology. We're just not using it the right way. And we need to start thinking creatively and freeing our mind. Right now we're very much slaves to this technology. We're slaves to social media. We've allowed ourselves to let it consume almost majority of our time. So instead of allowing that to happen, we need to leverage it for our advantage.
That's an extremely important thing you have just brought up, and we're going to take a very quick break and then come back. So I want to sort of take it apart. It's going to be fun. Come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the coffee table. We're having a really interesting conversation about e-commerce, and that's a sentence you might not think was possible, but it's true. We're talking to Safian Hafeez and Dr. Mohammad Zulqarnain, who are both sort of, IT tech wizards and have got these wonderful companies that do e-commerce. Oh gosh. Okay, so Safian, before the break, we were talking about how to use technology in a way that works for you. And in that way, I'm thinking about Instagram, for example, which is just people generate content for your brand for free. It's a genius idea because in the interest of, like lifestyle blogging, for example, you're just getting free advertising. So do you think that actually people make a lot of fun of influencers, but do you think that that's an example of making your social media really work for you and monetizing that?
Yes, in a way it is. It's somewhat fortunate and unfortunate. A lot of people do, engage themselves in the influencing market, which is a positive thing for a company that wants to target audiences. But then, at the same time, people receiving that advertisement might get lost in that whatever that influencer is influencing. So it's about not consuming all of that and trying to leverage it in a different way. Meaning you don't have to be an influencer to find success on social media. But influencers have found success on social media, and they're great tools for companies like myself. But again, like a lot of people, again, they'll think that's the way, and they might waste their time trying to be this influencer, trying to be this popular person, and chasing something that is very superficial, that has a very low chance in success. How many influencers are there, and how many people make videos like that? There's probably millions of people out there making videos like that, but how many are actually influencers? So it's okay, you want to take that approach and you actually have that type of talent and you are a creative person, you can act, you have that type of art skill. So, go for it. But if there's other ways to leverage social media for marketing other than becoming an influencer.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to be aware of what you're consuming and how you're consuming it, because I think that's like the dark side of the internet and of social media. So, Zulqarnain, do you feel like patterns of consumption are changing globally? Like clearly they are, but do you think that for Pakistan and the rest of the world, what direction does it seem to be going in? Do you think that e-commerce is the one that's now leading traditional businesses?
Yes. Out of 7 billion people, we have around 4 billion something people that are already online.
Wow.
And again, this only 20 years, 30 years ago, this whole thing started. So this is just the starting point. It's not too late. There was a time when I used to think, oh, we're too late. People have already done this and that. But I still now, once I'm in this thing, I still feel like this is the whole internet, the e-commerce is in very early stages.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a lot of great things come out of it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time, especially for podcasts. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Yes, yeah. I'm just like, but what more could possibly be?
I remember when I was a kid, somebody told me, there's going to be a phone where you can see through the phone and you can talk to them. And I remember I didn't believe it. And now we're doing it right now. So,
I know, it's true. It's like, that's like some sort of space age, the Jetsons kind of thing how could you do that? Or you could, I think you probably weren't born then, but like telemarketing was a big thing where on TV you'd see these ads and it'd be like, call this number to order this product, and it was so revolutionary that wow, you can just call a phone number and order things. But I also and I'm curious, is that the kind of e-commerce is also dependent on a lot of things side by side that all need to kind of work together for it to be viable. So maybe this is just a very basic approach, but I'm thinking like you need access to the internet, you need a delivery kind of framework, and you need, I don't know, these kind of things. But do you think that that's fairly easy to organize? Like these things are okay, you can do it, even in a country like Pakistan where there are lots of other things like, the electricity went, or the transformer exploded, or, things like that.
Yeah, our Carbonic ID office is in Islamabad. And still we face these issues.
Exactly.
That's the capital. But I completely understand. But when you're starting a business, you have to wear all different kinds of hats. You got to do the marketing yourself. Maybe you got to deliver the product yourself or buy the product. Everything I have done all these things with my own hands.
Yeah.
So, but slowly, you'll find professionals in every single department, and you can grow from there. But in the start, you got to try to learn all these things, or at least just to get the whole thing going, you got to wear all the hats.
Yeah, which I suppose would be true for any new business.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to learn the whole process yourself, then you can make it better.
So, Safian, I feel like that there are certain skills that you need to do e-commerce that you don't necessarily need for traditional business?
Yes, you do. You can actually pay for those skills. What you need is a vision. And I think anybody can have a vision. They just need to be creative in their thinking. And then Mohammed just mentioned that Zulqarnain just mentioned that you just need sometimes you just need the professionals. Like Carbonic IT offers the digital marketing solution. So if you have a vision but you don't have the marketing strategy, you need someone to help you in the marketing strategy. A company like Carbonic IT can help. Or if you don't know how to source the product, or you don't know how to work with the carriers, or the shipping, you can leverage a company like Global Shopaholics, to set up your own company, and then utilize Global Shopaholics as your channel to bring in the product. Again, the B to B to C, right? Yeah. So you can be the other B. Global Shopaholics is the first B, and then you're the other B, and then the C is the customer that you're advertising to. So you can, you don't have to know everything. Yeah. You can utilize other people's expertise, and and find success that way.
So, sort of out of curiosity, Safian, what do you think of crowdfunding for businesses? Like, how does that work? Because I don't know. It's like you ask people for money, but then does that mean they become stakeholders in your business? How does that work? What do you think? of it?
Well, there are some crowdfunding where they are people that become stakeholders. There's funding where people just believe in your product and want to support you and don't necessarily have a stake. Crowdfunding is more or less, let's say if you have a unique idea, something that is very appealing to people, and you think that you can gather enough interest in that, and that interest can then turn into something viral, and then you'll find success that way through crowdfunding. But yeah, it's another concept. It's another way to get money to do what you want and to expand your business. But again, we're talking about something where you don't really need that much money to start out. You might get to a point where you do need money later on to perfect things, to get a bigger warehouse, for instance, for more storage, or you might want to increase your marketing budget from 10,000 to 20,000 because you think that it'll double your business. Because the data has proven it. So in that sense, you might need money to kind of get things moving faster. Yeah. But at the same time, you can allow the organic growth and be very patient. Like, Zulqarnain and I, we believe in organic growth. From the beginning, we didn't take money from anybody. We didn't want to, actually. We didn't. We just allowed our company to grow organically, and we were very patient. And and alhamdulillah, we are finding success in that.
Well done. Because I'm thinking about, do you think that the ethics of doing online or e-commerce or online business, are there any sort of ethical considerations that are different from a traditional business? Or it's kind of the same?
Ethics is something with any business, any company, anything, whether it's a store, a physical store, a dukaan, a small little thing, a small dukaan down the street from your house. Yeah. Ethics is just everywhere, even in media, So I think that's a universal theme.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Having good ethics, having good morals, having good values. So and then that's actually if I were to wrap up anything and try to give advice, is that we need more entrepreneurs in Pakistan. Yep. We need more companies in Pakistan that are focused on quality and service. Companies that leverage technology to bring positive change in other people's lives. That's what Pakistan needs: quality. Like I go there every year. I've been in America since I was 3 or 4 years old. I came here. But I was lucky because my father took me back home every summer. So I got to experience Pakistan every summer for three hot months. Yeah. I think between, because that's when our summer break would be. Yes. So and the thing that I always noticed, the common theme in Pakistan was the quality was lacking. Yes. People aren't interested in the quality of service, and they don't even know what quality of service really means. And the quality of life, what does that mean? Yeah. And what does happiness really mean? And what does, throwing away the trash in a proper bin mean? Yeah. What does keeping the front of my house clean mean? Yeah. A lot of people, I see very rich people, very big homes, they're throwing the trash over their wall. Quite right. And I think there's that sense of, they're not even, that sense of how this is also part of a community. And when you are an entrepreneur or anything really, it needs to be a kind of team effort in that way. Zulqarnain, do you have any advice to give sort of, on budding young entrepreneurs in Pakistan and elsewhere?
Yeah, first I would like to maybe convey advice to the government of Pakistan to make business making business easier in Pakistan. Yeah. And the banking system. Yes. I remember
we don't even have PayPal, it's tricky.
Forget PayPal. We still have to sign the check. And if the signature is not the same, me and Safian, we went to a bank and we're still not able to, by the way, we're still not able to open that bank account because Safian's signature was not matching. He's not used to signing a check, and every time the signature has to be the same. Yeah. And it took us 20 minutes to have the same signature. I mean, come on. Right now, we're over here, we just take a picture of the check and it just goes. We don't even have to go to the bank.
Those are exactly the kind of things that you need for support for a business. Because it's not just that, I have the internet. Like you said, you need like a banking system that's more efficient. Then I think that's a really good point. Carry on.
Yeah, banking system, PayPal. Our government has to really work on bringing PayPal in Pakistan.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Is that the world is changing at such a breakneck speed. It's like lightning fast, that for us to keep up and for Pakistani entrepreneurship to keep up, and there's no dearth of wonderful ideas, but the thing is that we have to make sure that we are at least running at somewhat the same speed as everybody else to be able to kind of compete with, pride and competence and efficiency. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on the show with me today. I've learned a lot about e-commerce. Has it influenced my online shopping aspirations? No. But that's a good thing. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, also an online channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time on the coffee table. Bye now.